Las Vegas the day after the fire and saw smoke still hanging over the ravaged hotel.
I just couldn't believe it, seeing this incredibly massive amount of smoke coming from a modern hotel. This was the sort of incident that is perhaps once in a lifetime in the history of a firefighter. I've never seen a fire of this magnitude before, certainly not with this severe loss of life.
No alarms rang on the upper floors of the MGM, and many guests learned of the danger only when fire trucks arrived. By then, people were already trapped.
As the fire department rolled up on the scene, there were people actually leaning out of the windows, standing on balconies, screaming for help, many people waving towels and sheets to attract attention.
On the 22nd or 23rd floor, we came to the elevator lobby, and at one point there was 5 or 6 bodies just laying there. They were covered with black smoke and soot, and the soot was so thick that if you would pick up an arm, there would be the perfect clean outline of a hand on the carpet. And it was obvious they died there, overcome by smoke, waiting for elevators that never came.
Others struggled through the smoky hallways to the stairs, but half the stairways were clogged with smoke. Guests were trapped when the doors locked behind them.
Fires generate huge volumes of jet black smoke that's laden with lethal carbon monoxide. And even in the daytime, it could be like pulling the shades down and turning off the lights. The smoke is so black, and you're breathing the noxious fumes and start to get disoriented, and it's just a lost cause after that.
Custer searched the empty hotel to track the path of the deadly smoke and uncover how it had raced through the building.
One of the mysteries was how the smoke traveled from the casino up to the floors where the people died.
Custer's first clue came in an elevator lobby. He found wispy patterns of soot around the buttons. He had his first suspect, the elevator shafts. Next, he rolled out the hotel's blueprints and found another suspect. The hotel's wings were separated by tall seismic joints designed to let the building flex during earthquakes. He searched the hotel and found the joints burnt and sooty.
Between the buildings are tall shafts that extend from the casino all the way up to the top of the building. Smoke and hot toxic fumes boiled up these shafts and came out through openings on each floor.
The seismic joints and elevator shafts acted like plugged chimneys. The smoke rose up the tall shafts and poured into the hallways. Custer climbed to the hotel's top floor and found one more culprit. The air conditioner had safety doors, called dampers, that would snap shut to limit the spread of smoke. The dampers would activate when they sensed the heat of a fire, or, in this hotel, the heat of the desert sun.
They were getting such high ambient air temperatures that the sensing dampers were closing, shutting down the entire system. And it's my understanding, as a cure for this, maintenance personnel took lag screws and mechanically fastened the dampers open, thereby negating their effect.
The propped open air conditioner, the elevator shafts, and the seismic joints filled the upper hallways with noxious smoke. 22 guests choked to death while struggling to escape. Other deaths were more mysterious. 25 died in rooms, some with no obvious traces of smoke.
When you go into a room that's absolutely clean, and the people are there under no distress and no panic, and yet they're not alive, well, it's disheartening for one thing, and then, man, you want to know what happened here. I mean, we've got to know what happened here.
What I saw when I came into this room was what appeared to be a surprising lack of smoke. The walls and the ceiling and the floor did not appear to have any noticeable stains. Some of the bodies were found stretched out on a floor, or perhaps seated, showing no signs of any anxiety or stress, just simply died in place. In one instance, a couple was found dead on the floor in their hotel room, and they were in a relaxed position as if they had just laid down and gone to sleep. In looking at the guest rooms, I noticed that the air supply came through small grills over the top of the guest room doors. I removed several of these grills and noticed that the air filters behind the grills were tightly packed, literally clogged with heavy black soot particles.
Custer discovered that the room's air conditioners had drawn air in from the smoky hallways.
The thick black smoke had been absorbed or filtered out by the air filters, but that wasn't enough to filter out the toxic carbon monoxide and other gases that killed the occupants. They were overcome very slowly, primarily because of the narcotic effect of the fire products. It's almost like being put under anesthesia in the hospital. They probably had no idea that there was anything toxic. They would have smelled smoke, but they wouldn't have seen smoke.
The invisible, poisonous carbon monoxide replaced the oxygen in the victim's blood. Their central nervous systems slowly shut down, lulling them into a deadly sleep.
This is truly what would be called an accident, where a huge number of small items all came together at the same time and resulted in a disaster.
Bad luck turned relatively minor defects into a major catastrophe. The flammable deli booths and ceiling tiles, the locking stairway doors, the propped open air conditioner, and the smoke-spreading seismic joints all played a part in the tragedy. Six months after the fire, the MGM Grand reopened with a $5 million fire safety system. The hotel, now owned by Bally's, is considered one of the safest in the world.
What happened after the fire, more stringent codes were added to the fire code regulations. Bally's decided to go far and above the codes that did come out. We have over 1,250 system-generated smoke detectors. What I mean by that, they're all tied into a central computer. We have over 8,000 audio evacuation speakers. We have water flows and tampers and sprinklers throughout the building. We have over 30,000 sprinkler heads. As we know, the most dangerous thing in a fire is smoke. What we did is added pressurization fans to the stairwells. When an alarm comes into the central computer, these fans automatically turn on and pressurize these stairwells, which won't allow any smoke in, and then everything gets vented out through the roof.
However, not all hotels are as safe as Bally's.
When you come to a high-rise building, you need to know where the exits are, how you can get into that building, how you can get out of that floor. Take a moment before you go into your room at night and think, where are the stairwells? How can I get down them? If I wake up in the middle of the night and it's dark, where do I go for help?
Well, there are times when I've had to stay in hotels that are unsafe, outside the United States and even within the United States. What I try to do there is get a room close to the exit and a room close to the ground level. And I guess I gamble a little.